Did you ever wonder what you should do when you get hired as a QA in a software company? Should you start testing right away after the development is done? What would you do if you find a bug? Do you need to see designs and requirements before feature is done? All the answers for those questions and also a practical example of feature cycle and how QA is involved in it you can find in this video. You are watching ANA Coding. So what does QA stands for? QA is quality assurance, or if you want, question asker. You need to assure the quality of a product, quality on many stages, from requirements and designs to development and deployment. And well, you'll have to ask a lot of questions, because product managers and developers could be tough ones to spill out the information. Depending on company roles, product owner, designer, developer, QA, DevOps, could be distributed between departments, different individuals, or it can be just one guy for many of those roles. So let's look how your work will look like in this practical example. To-do list application. Yes, another to-do list. But don't blame me. Take it as an example, was someone else's idea. So we want to add a new feature, add new items to the list. First, someone needs to collect and write the requirements. Having the designers could create a UI design. Developers could start software development phase. QA could start test case development. And once developers are done, we could start software testing. If all is good, and we give green light for the deployment stage, followed by maintenance in the long term. Now let's go step by step. Make sure you don't miss next phase, since all of them are critical, and you as QA can play a role in each of them. Collection of requirements and planning. Well, you know everyone needs to know what to do. That's why we need those requirements. You may say we already know we need a button and input field, but this is only a raw idea, and everyone could have a different vision of this. What specific requirements we can have in this case? Users should be able to add new items to the to-do list via input field at the bottom of the list. Text field add and cancel buttons should be provided within the user interface. If input field is not empty at the moment, pressing Enter key or Add button should add new items at the end of the list and clear the text in the field. Pressing Escape key and Cancel button when input field is visible and focused will cancel adding the item and clear the text of the field. The input field and buttons design and functionality should be consistent with the existing user interface. Last point can be categorized as a constraint, by the way, because we mentioned certain limitations we apply on our feature. Now, as a QA, you can say, hey, the field doesn't have any limitations to the amount of symbols that the user can input. Is that what we want? After discussion with your team, one more item is added to constraints. That input field should only accept a maximum of 200 symbols. Requirements are not finalized yet, but the design team has already started creating a new UI design that will look consistent with existing UI and also will have a friendly user experience. But they decided that the input field needs to be in the dialog modal. Naive designers. They didn't read the company's UI standards document. For the sake of example, let's imagine we have such a document and you happen to read it. Because of that, now you know that UI standards document prescribed to have as few dialogues as possible. So you come to designers and suggest, what if the input field will be located under the to-do list? It will be a more acceptable user experience. Software development. During this stage, devs do their stuff. To get to know how they are doing that, feel free to check out development-based blogs on our channel. It would be a pity to miss an opportunity to promote our new videos, right? So sooner or later, devs will come to you to ask to test the finished feature. Or worst case, they will just assign a ticket to you and change its status to ready for testing. You better have your test cases ready by then. Test case development. QA engineers are developing test plan, test cases, and test scripts based on the requirements and design documents. This stage often goes in parallel with design and software development stages. Usually the QA team has a list of agreements specific for the company, project, and product. This list is called test plan. A good test plan is self-explained and doesn't need any addition in order to start testing the product right away. It can contain testing approach, resources, test environment, defect reporting, test execution, test sign-off, etc. Testing approach. Manual testing will be performed by QA engineers to validate the functionality of every feature. Test cases will cover both positive and negative scenarios. Resources. Test environment with to-do list, application installed. Test data for various scenarios is provided. For example, valid inputs, invalid inputs. Test environments. Operating system, Windows 11, macOS, Android, iOS. Browsers, Google Chrome, Safari, Mobile Chrome, Mobile Safari. Execution environment, staging, production. Let's stop here for a minute. In order to comply with the test environment, the QA team should have all those devices carrying different operating systems, Windows laptops of different models, MacBooks, Android phones, and Apple phones. All that should be charged and ready for testing at any moment. Sometimes, the company can't provide those devices, so QA may install emulators that replicate actual mobile phone or desktop operating system. As for execution environment, staging is a special testing environment. For the web, it's usually a private domain, accessible for the team only. It usually has all the latest features, some of them yet to be tested. After QA sign-off, features from the staging usually get developed to production, where real clients could see new features. So back to the test plan. Defect reporting. Any defects encountered during testing should be documented using the organization defect tracking system, including steps to reproduce, severity, and priority, and better to have some screenshots and video attached. Under defect tracking system, people usually mean special websites where teams can create tickets for each bug and assign them to developers to fix and track the status of the ticket. Most popular systems that are used nowadays are Jira, Trello, Asana, Notion, and many others. Test executions. QA engineers will execute the test cases and record the results, including any deviations from expected behavior. Test sign-off. Once testing is complete and all test cases pass, QA will provide sign-off for every feature to proceed to deployment. Under deployment, we mean production deployment. When tested code is shipped from staging to production, there are different execution environments, and each one of them could have its own deployment procedures. For example, developers have a local environment on their computers. However, there could be a development environment with freshly made, newly untested features that are deployed for initial testing for developers or by QA. Companies can decide to have feature-specific environments for more granular testing. Those environments will be just like staging, but will include one single feature on top of that. By following the test plan, the QA team can ensure that feature function correctly and meet specific requirements before being released to users. Now, what is different from feature to feature? It's objective, scope, test cases. But they are also part of the test plan. They're just different from each other specific feature. Let's see what those points could look like for our Add New Item feature. Objective: to ensure that users can successfully add new items to the to-do list using the Add New Item feature. Scope: functionality of adding new items to the to-do list via the Add New Item button and the associated elements, dialogues, inputs, and other elements involved. Now the test cases. We will cover only a few basic here, but test cases are the bread and butter of QAs. You should be good at writing and running those against the feature you are testing. Test case 1. Add new item, valid input. Description: verify that a new item can be successfully added to the to-do list and valid input. Steps: open the to-do list application. Focus input field below the list. Enter valid item text, at least one non-space character, in the input field. Click the Add button or press key on the keyboard. Expected result: the new item should be added to the to-do list with the entered details. Input should be cleared but should stay focused. Test case 2. Add new item, missing title. Description: verify that the system displays an error message when text field is left blank. Steps: open the to-do list application. Focus input field below the list. Leave the field blank. Click the Add button or press Enter key on the keyboard. Expected result: the system should display an error message prompting the user to enter something in the text field. Test case 3. Add new item, invalid text field value. Description: verify that the system displays an error message when an invalid field value is entered. Steps: open the to-do list application. Focus input field below the list. Enter a few spaces in the text field. Click Add button. Expected result: the system should display an error message indicating that field value is invalid. Test case 4. Add new item, clear button. Description: verify that clicking the clear button clears the text field without adding a new item. Steps: open the to-do list application. Focus input field below the list. Observe that clear button is not visible. Enter valid item text, at least one non-space character in the input field. Observe that clear button appeared. Click the clear button and expected results. Text field should be cleared without adding a new item to the to-do list. For the test data, you can specify it individually per each test case or define common groups of test data like we did just now, valid inputs and invalid inputs. All this time, we discussed the test case development stage because it's one of the most intense stages for QA. Moving to the next stage. Software testing. This is another stage where QA is heavily involved. QA engineers execute various types of tests such as functional, integrational, regression, performance, and security tests. They analyze test results, report defects, and work with developers to resolve issues, all according to the test plan that we described before. QA ensures that the software meets the defined criteria, the quality standards before release. Deployment. QA verifies the deployment process to ensure that the software is deployed correctly in the target environment. They may perform smoke tests or sanity checks to ensure that basic functionality are working as expected after deployment. Maintenance. After deployment, QA continues to play a role in the maintenance phase by performing periodic regression testing, meaning they run all the test cases for all existing features. Regression testing is usually done after bug fixes or couple feature additions to make sure features work well in integration between each other. QA monitors production systems for any issues and work with the development team to address them promptly. If you watched this video to the end, I'm sure you learned a lot of new and useful information. Please write us in the comments below Which part of the workflow is the most important? If you didn't like the video, please let us know why, so we can improve in future. And see you in the next videos. Bye bye.